get started. All right. Good morning, my loves. It's Katie, and this is an episode of Coffee Chats, Magic Coffee Chats. The name, if you haven't noticed, has kind of been changing and evolving as I get into these, but I am honored to be here and be your guide this morning to dive into more of how to create that magical life within ourselves, how to create transformation, how to find freedom, how to create a life of options. And that might be with your health, that might be with your emotions, that might be with your finances, that might be with your business. Most of the time, if you're hanging out with me and you're grabbing your brew and you're ready to chat, it's because you are an empath, you're more sensitive, you're trying to figure things out, and you're an entrepreneur at the same time, or you're a lady. So whatever category you're in, welcome to this space. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on here to deliver some content and some thoughts and ideas. We had the 4th of July holiday. We had, what else did we have? We were out of town. We had some other things going on. So it's been a couple weeks, and I missed you all, and I've got a lot to share this morning. But I'm going to tell you right now, you might notice that I'm popping on a little bit late. That's because I forgot what it took to set this up, and I was just enjoying the morning and the peace and the quiet and the still and the relaxation, which is something that we're going to dive into today. So welcome to the hangout. Welcome to Magic Coffee Chats. Grab yourself a brew and let's sit down and let's talk about life. Let's talk about transformation, and let's dive into all things related to what I call the magical life of options. Okay. So my name is Katie. If you've never been on this call, my name is Katie Glasgow, and I am an entrepreneur. I'm a transformation coach. I am an intuitive healer, and I love essential oils, if you haven't figured that part out yet. So every time we're on this call, I probably will talk about oils. I'll talk about being an empath, intuition, and then we'll tie in some other topic, whatever I find that's on my heart from just different things that I'm getting from the cosmos, different ideas I'm getting from people, the people I'm interacting with. And so that's where today's topic is coming from. We're going to dive into how to get ourselves unstuck when we feel like we're in a rut, and knowing when that's okay to be in a season of rest and when we need to get out of it. And so yesterday on my Instagram and my Facebook, I posted this quote by Albert Einstein that says, "Nothing moves without action." Ponder that for a moment. Nothing moves without action. Okay, so we could look at that as the physical, right? We could look at nothing physically moves without action, right? You can't move a ball unless you give it a little push. You can't move yourself unless you start to walk. Whatever that looks like, nothing moves. So you could look at that from the physical perspective, or we can look at that from the energetic perspective, or in our life patterns and our life choices. There's so many different ways. This quote goes so deep. And so that's what we're going to dive into today. And we're also going to talk a little bit more about when that's okay to not move. Okay. So this is what I've been feeling the last couple of weeks from chatting with some of my clients, with some of my colleagues, is that there's a lot of people that feel like they're in stagnation, right? They're in this pile of stagnation. And we have to realize that there's two types of stagnation before we go any further. There's stagnation that's actually good. It's when we are meant to rest. We're supposed to slow down. We're supposed to go inward. We're supposed to reflect, right? A lot of times that's going to be the season of winter. If you're looking at a calendar of the seasons of the year, winter brings cold. It brings frigid temperatures. The weather is crappy outside. So we stay in, we go inward, we kind of reflect. We do different things like that. There's also a season of our life that sometimes we're just pushing ourselves so much. It's this constant go, 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 go energy. I find with people that are super driven, very masculine energy, very goal-oriented, very goal-focused. So a lot of my entrepreneur friends, and most of the time if you're hanging out on here, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a mom and you're trying to be an entrepreneur at the same time. And we push ourselves to our goals, and we don't think that we can ever rest, okay? And so it gets to the point where eventually our body says, hold on, you're not taking care of me daily. You're not honoring me daily. And so you are just burning the candle at both ends. You're probably not sleeping like you should. You're doing all the things to everybody. And it's like our body is in this state, this constant fight or flight, right? And it's in this constant state of contracted energy, right? It's not an expanded energy. It's like you're holding, it's like you're waiting to exhale. You're holding everything together by the strings. And it comes to the point where your body says, come on now. Stop being stupid. I'm here to honor you. You were given this beautiful body. Now take care of it. And we need to go into a season of rest. So that might be when our creativity is not flowing, our business isn't moving. It might be we've gone through a season in life that we needed to rest. Maybe we have a loved one that we've lost, whether that's through a mutual separation. So I want to honor the women out there, or those individuals that have gone through divorce or the loss of a partnership or something like that, because that is a season that we need to stop and we need to process that and we need to grieve. Maybe you've lost a parent, you've lost a spouse, you've lost a child, whatever that looks like. There's a season where we've had a severed relationship and we need to stop and we need to honor that and we need to process that. Because when we don't stop and honor and process our emotions, they'll get stuck inside of us and then they'll cause even more issues within our physical body. Okay. Because we're like holding on to it. We're holding on to it. Okay. So we want to honor those periods of rest. Okay. We want to really honor those. So if you're in that season, we're still going to look at how we can create movement. Your movement might just be a little bit different, right? No action happens without movement. Your movement might be a little bit different in that season, but we still want to create the movement. Okay. And so, we're in these seasons, we need to honor them. Maybe you've just had a child. You know, I'm going to be super honest. When I had my last baby, I was in a position where I could have taken off quite a while, but that driven, masculine, Katie needs to constantly go. If I don't constantly go, the world's going to fall apart. How many moms have ever been there? I didn't have to go back from work. I'm my own employer. I'm an entrepreneur. My husband does this business with me. I have lots of support. My business was in a place where I didn't have to go back, and I kept trying to push it, right? I kept trying to push it. Well, guess what? I got thrush from breastfeeding. I got different physical things that happened because I wasn't honoring completely that season of rest. Okay. So I still needed to do movement within there, but I wasn't honoring completely that season of rest. Okay. So I want to be super clear, like we need to honor that. So I want you to ask yourself, am I in that season where I need to honor my body? Where have I had a huge push and I need to relax and I need to calm down and I need to recharge? Okay. You can look at this in a cycle of the seasons. You can look at this in the cycle of your day. Are you building in the rest every single day? Are you building in the rest every single month? Are you building in the rest in all these different areas? But honor that that's where you're at, if that's where you're at. But we still need the movement. Okay. We still need the movement. Okay. And so then the other flip side of the stagnation happens, right? So I don't look at when we need to honor our body and we need to rest. I don't actually look at that as necessarily stagnation. It's just a slower period. It's just a flow, right? So don't look at it. So if you're in that period and you're looking at it as stagnation, shift, go, just shift around your mind, shift it. Close your eyes, open up that third eye and shift right now. Somebody just shifted, and somebody that's listening to this recording is going to shift. My goal is always to, I don't know if you guys, side note from the webinar, because I'm full of side notes, is when I go on live, when I do a coffee chat, when I connect or I do an event, my goal, when I even share a post on Instagram or Facebook, my goal is that I've reached one person. So if there's 10 people I reach, bonus. If there's 100 people I reach, extra bonus. But my mission is always that I will touch one person's life with this call, with this gathering, with this space together. So hopefully that's you today, that you're taking this and you're absorbing it. So if you are in that period of rest, honor that, recognize it, okay? and be okay with it. Don't look at it as your stagnation. Okay. So let's go back to this other piece, this other side of stagnation and being like stuck. And that's when we truly have stagnation. It's like we've gone inward for so long that we don't even know where to go, right? It's like I'm a huge visual person and I grew up on a farm. So just FYI, sometimes my truth bombs are a little graphic. Okay, so this is how I see it. When I grew up on a farm, we raised pigs, okay? And so from a very young age, I would help take care of the pigs, okay? So when a mama pig, which is called a sow, decides to, like, sometimes you just get these old stubborn sows, right? And they go out and they lay in the mud and they don't want to get up, right? They don't want to get back into their babies. They don't want to be, they don't want to get up to eat. They don't want to get up to water. And you can tell that that's exactly what they need, but it's like they're truly stuck in the mud. They're stuck in the poop, okay? And so you kind of have to prod them and pry them, and you got to get a little up forceful with them to get them out of the mud. And they get so mad at you. They get so angry. And I know I've got some farm girls on here. When a mama sow gets mad, she makes this noise, and it's like a wolf, like a dog. And when you're little and you're, helping on the farm, it scares the living shit out of you. Okay. And so here's the thing. It's like, sometimes we get into this stagnation. We get into this like rut, like an old sow laying in the poop, that we know we need to get out, but we've gotten so covered in the poop, we don't know how to get out. We're like, I don't know how to get to the next step. So we're not in a season of rest at all. We're not in a season of reflection. We're just in a pile of shit that we can't get out of. Do you all know what I'm talking about? How many of you are like, oh, I know exactly what Katie's talking about right now. So we're just sitting in the mud. And so sometimes to get out of that, it takes somebody to truth bomb us like none other and poke and prod, and we're probably going to get pissed off, and we're probably going to woof at them, and we're probably going to bash and flash. But the reality is we need the truth. And I will tell you that is a big mission. It's always on my heart to deliver the truth in any way I can. And I know that by delivering the truth, I'm probably going to piss you off sometimes. All right. You're not going to be happy with what I had to say. Maybe you're going to turn this off because you're not ready to hear what I'm about to say. Maybe you're going to click unfollow. I don't care. That's the reality, because I'm not attached to that. I'm attached to this mission on my heart and telling you and being that person, because sometimes we don't have people in our lives that will actually truth bomb us and tell us and poke us and prod us to get us out of the poop that we're sitting in, that we're analyzing over and over and over again, because we can't seem to figure out where to go. Okay. So in both scenarios, did you see how they're kind of the same? They kind of have a stuck. There's not a lot of flow, but at the same time, they're completely different things. But in both scenarios, we must create action to create movement, okay? Just like Albert Einstein said. We must create some kind of a flow, some kind of movement to create the action that will help us get out of it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Just a couple of tips, some homeworks for you so that we can start to get back in that flow. How's that sound? Does that sound wonderful for you? I just put the lid on wrong. I've got my coffee here. Oh, so good. So let's first look at when we're in that movement, and let's look at physical movement. So one of the things that you're going to see me talk about a lot is movement. I'm super passionate about physical movement. Okay. So but I'm also passionate that when you find the physical movement, I feel like we've grown up in this society that physical movement means going to a gym and sweating it out for hours a day and all the things, and like creating, like being this big buff muscle person or having this little swimsuit body or whatever that looks like for you. That was the picture I had in my head when I thought of movement. And I've really started to shift my relationship with movement, because I really didn't do any movement besides physical labor on the farm or around the house or anything like that until I was about 30 years old. And then I started to run. And I started to run because it was a random challenge that somebody challenged me to run a marathon. And I was like, or a half marathon. I was like, sure, let's do it. And so I had no idea what that entailed, but it got me moving. And what I realized after I started running, and I got through the first couple of weeks, and I learned to start to enjoy the practice of running, that the running, I wasn't running for the physical. Yeah, it made me feel great, but there was this endorphin release, and my thoughts started to get clearer, and I got all of these beautiful ideas, and I could start my day with so much more clarity. Do you all know what I'm talking about? And so when I started doing this running thing, I realized it was something different, and I started to shift my relationship with movement, that movement, the physical movement, wasn't about losing weight. The physical movement wasn't about having bigger muscles or fitting into a swimsuit or anything else like that. The physical movement was about moving energy. It was about putting things in motion. It was about creating action, right? And so whether you're processing through grief or a season, get out and move. Whether you're processing through overwhelm and stagnation, right? Stagnation in your business because you like to be stuck in your pile of poo, get out and move. That is my number one recommendation. In fact, there are some days that I feel overwhelmed and I feel like no clarity, or I've gotten all of these ideas coming at me and I'm not sure what to do. Or maybe I feel like I don't have any ideas to share with you all. Or maybe I feel like my physical body, my hip might hurt or my foot might hurt or whatever. But what I find is when I actually move, it makes it feel better. And so a lot of times I think we can get into the stagnation that we think if we move, we'll get so overwhelmed by it or the thought of it that it like we don't do it because of the opposite effect. Okay. So move your physical body. Now that's going to look different for each and every single one of you. Create a list of 5 things that give you joy to move, right? Maybe you like to dance the Zumba. Have a dance party in your house with your kids, right? It's really that simple. If you need to work on your self-worth and you are getting over a relationship, ladies, put the music up loud and dance in front of your mirror naked. Okay. And start to love and appreciate that body of yours. I love to dance. I love to Zumba. Oh my gosh, I love it. Going to a high energy Zumba class. The second thing is going to be fine. Like I love to go for walks in nature. And I will tell you right now, I go through seasons of exercise. Like right now, I am in a season of, I like Pilates and I like walking. I haven't been Zumbaing. I haven't been yogaing. I haven't been doing all those things because I'm in this season of something different. So it's simply get out and move, whatever that will allow you to do. So whether you're in stagnation because you're stuck, or you're in a season that you need to turn inward and reflect, movement will help you process that, okay? Simply move. Create movement, okay? Create movement. You can also create movement through journaling. Why am I stuck like this? Why am I stuck? Why am I doing this? To myself. So use your essential oils, drink your water, okay? I talk about this all the time, but all of these things are tools to help us flow through the process and not get stuck in a season forever. A season will come to an end, but we also have to be willing to do some things to help that season flow along, to help it pass along, okay? Just like in the winter, we put on more clothes, we drink our tea, we might do different activities in the winter than we do in the summer. It's going to be the same thing when you're in that space of stagnation. Is that making sense? Hopefully it is. Okay, so just write out a list of what makes you like to move and fit it into your life. And what I find is that when we find movement that gives us joy, we're more likely to do it. Okay, so now let's go and let's talk about that movement. I really want to talk for like the next 5 minutes and wrap this chat up about the movement when we get stuck, because I'm a truth bomber. I'm a business coach. I'm a transformation coach, and I want to help you find truth in your life. Okay. And so I want to honor that season, but what I see a whole lot more of than honoring the season, we're actually pretty good at honoring the season that we're in, is that we get stuck and we don't want to move, and we get in our own way from all our success. Okay. So somebody asked me last week, or I was having a conversation with a couple of people, and I'm in network marketing. I'm in a direct sale, or in the network marketing company doTERRA, and I'm one of the top leaders. And so I work with thousands of people in this realm, and it's a constant turnover of people. That's the nature of the beast a lot in network marketing, because it's an easy entry point, but it also means it's an easy exit point. And I see people all the time come to me. They tell me, you know what, this just isn't for me. Or I can't do this business, or I just, whatever. Okay. And there are times that I'm going to honor the season that that person's in. Maybe they just had a new baby and they've got so many other things and they just haven't shifted that priority. But what I find the most of the reason that people get stuck in a rut is that they're unwilling to get uncomfortable to do the personal growth that's actually required to rise up the levels. Okay. So it's not that they can't put an oil on somebody, or they can't put makeup on somebody if that's your gig or whatever, or they can't teach somebody about essential oils, right? That's the easy part. It's that they can't get out of their own freaking head to have that courage to come out. And to get out of that, you're going to have to move. You're going to have to look in the mirror. You're going to have to deal with a lot of your issues. And those issues are going to pop up in lots of different places. Sometimes they pop up when we're first getting started. And sometimes you've done enough personal development, or you've got enough drive that it doesn't pop up until you're in the top of the 5% of the company, right? It happens all the time. And then we start to get, and so what happens is that we start to think about it too much. And it's like we start to get stuck because we've thought about it too much. We've gone deeper and deeper and deeper into the hole because we start to feel the overwhelm. We start to feel that mud. It's like the mud is caking us down and we don't know how to get out. And so that's where it's like, get a coach, surround yourself with people that get it because they've probably been there. But instead of surrounding ourselves, we just keep getting into the mud. We just keep getting into the mud, and it's like this little game, and we hang out there and all the different things. We just hang out in that mud. But the reality is we must create movement. So how are we going to create movement? We're going to start to do the actions. Again, you're going to work with an accountability partner. You're going to work with a coach. There's all these different ways. Maybe your accountability partner is your husband. I know sometimes when I get off the track of doing my physical movement, my husband is my number one cheerleader. And I will tell him, look, I really need to make sure I make it to Pilates at 6 a.m. Not only is my Pilates instructor going to kick my butt because I cancel on her again, but I physically need it. So when you hear my alarm go off, go get out of bed. And so he does that. So have an accountability partner. Maybe it's with your food. Maybe it's with whatever is holding you back. If you're in network marketing, the coolest part is it's built in. And usually your coaching is free. So are you avoiding the calls that you need to be in? Okay. Are you avoiding, maybe you're not even running your own business. Maybe you're not seeking networking groups. You're only going to be as strong as the people that lift you up. Are you hiding from those people? Are you skipping events where you could be getting out and around other people? Are you skipping online hangouts and chats? I offer so many different ways to hang out and connect and gather, because I know it's one of the fastest ways to get out of stagnation is to get around other people. Right? It's to get around. Why do you think they have AA? Why do you think they have grief support groups? Why do you think they have mom groups? There's constantly spaces, but a lot of times we make excuses not to go to the space because we like our mud. So it might just take to get out of it. Okay. I was listening to something yesterday with Kate Northrup, and she made this quote, and I was just like, oh, so good. Because I think a lot of times we get stuck in that pile of poo because we are overwhelmed. Okay. I would say that is probably the number one reason. But where is that overwhelm coming from? The overwhelm is sometimes a subconscious way to stay small and in a comfort zone. We use it as the excuse. Bam! Truth bomb right there. All right. Let me repeat that one. overwhelm is sometimes a subconscious. I would say 9 times out of 10, it's a subconscious way to stay small. And in a comfort zone, we use it as the excuse. What do you think of that one? I heard that yesterday. I immediately wrote it down, and I think I texted it to like 20 girlfriends. I was like, oh, look at that. Some of my other coaches, some people I thought that would pertain to. Okay, so a lot of times we're down in this hole. How are we going to get out? We create movement because we start to honor ourselves. We are worthy. We are deserving. And sometimes it's just about getting out and having time to think and connect up to that higher source that you have. You put on some essential oils, right? Sandalwood is really great for that. Lemongrass, spearmint, right there on your third eye, right there on your crown chakra. Delicious. And then you realize you start to bring that subconscious to the conscious, and you start to have awareness, and you ask yourself this. And when you ask yourself, I want to hear this. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, put it in the comments. If you're on Facebook, put it in the comments. If you're on Instagram, I want to hear from you. Is it the subconscious way? Are you self-sabotaging by saying you're overwhelmed because you just don't want to put in the personal development? You don't want to put in you don't want to expand. You want to stay so nice and warm and comfy with your excuses. You know what I'm talking about. And so now let's take it a whole different direction. We know that it's subconscious. So I think why this has been on my heart so much lately, and why I wanted to talk about this week, is because the cosmos, right? We're going to bring in the cosmos because they're here to help us. It's almost like we have a shadow self, and that's the shadow self is usually the one that's actually showing up. It's the one that's really not the truth, that kind of shadows us over. It shadows our true self, our soul truth over, so that we can't rise up, right? And so our shadow self has a really good perception, or it's a really shitty perception, but in our head, it is like the ultimate truth perception. But the reality is, it's not very good. But we have been telling ourselves that for so long, that the shadow goes over the truth and it becomes the truth. So is it that you can't do something in your business or change your life because, oh, poor pity me, my husband works all the time and I don't have anybody to help me with the kids? Or is it, I can't do what she does because I don't know. I get it all the time. I can't do what she does because I wouldn't be very good at videos. I'm not good. I'm not good at videos. I don't like to see myself in videos. Is it that you're too worried about what people are going to think? What is it that's holding you back? What is your truth that is actually not a truth? Start to dive into it. And here's the thing. Go ask somebody, because somebody else can probably tell you better than you can what it is, what story you need to let go of so that you can expand and you can grow and we don't have the overwhelm, right? And then we can start to get out of the poop. Okay. So right now the cosmos are aligned that our soul truth, like our whole truth, the real truth, is ready to come out. The shadow's starting to get pushed away and there's this tug of war going on. So a lot of people are really stuck in the crap right now. They're coming to me and they're like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what this is. Okay, here's the reality. You don't have to know what your purpose is right now. Just take a step forward. Getting out of the poop doesn't mean that you're going to push for your next rank in your business. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to start going to the gym. Maybe you're hiding from your eating habits. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to go crazy extreme with your eating, because that's not good either. Okay. It just means that you're focusing in on today. You're focusing in on what you can do today. So go for a 10-minute walk, go for a 20-minute walk, and start to analyze, am I feeling overwhelmed? Right? Because I'm really overwhelmed and I have too much on my plate? Or am I feeling overwhelmed because I'm self-sabotaging myself to stay small in this curled up little ball in the pile of poop, just like the old pig laying there in the yard? I'm getting this vision of like my dad's farm, And I know there's some people out there, I've had this conversation with some of my colleagues, and the pigs. So, but they eventually get out because somebody's there to prod and poke them to help them get out, right? So call a friend, phone a friend, get to a gathering, get to a group, right? There's gatherings all around you. I try to create as many spaces in person and inviting you to this coffee chat in my home, like every week, like not caring about what it looks like in the background, but just being like, hey, come into my home, grab your cup of coffee, let's chat, let's hang out. There's always something there to help you get through this. But please, please, please create some action this week. Create some action to create the movement. Create movement to create action so you can start to shift your life, because there are seasons when we need to take a rest. But there's a whole lot more of you not in that season of rest and in that season of curling up in the ball and staying in the comfort zone because it's super, super, super comfy. But you were all meant for more. And if you want to create a life of magic, if you want to live in your truth, if you want to honor yourself, if you want to live truly and fully alive and thrive in this world, get out of your own way. Figure out a way to get out of the mud. I've given you some ideas, right? Get out, find something to do. Don't get overwhelmed. Call somebody, message me. So many different fun ways that you can connect with people. But my wish for you is to not stay in the mud, to thrive, right? I want to see you fully alive because you are here to make a difference in so many ways in your life. You're here to touch people's lives. You're here to do all the things. And you can't do that curled up in the ball, hiding in your house without a bra on. You have to get out and you have to take your mission to the next level. Okay. So don't worry about what that mission is. Don't worry about the future host. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. Somebody's got your back in that one. But focus in on today. What can you do today that's going to start to get you out of that? So that is my wish for you today. Thank you so much for being here and allowing me to be your guide. Like I said, I have so many online ways. Make sure you pop over to my events. I'm adding more and more and more ways that we can connect because it's on my heart to create more spaces and to create spaces online where we're hanging out like this, to create spaces in my home. So many different ways. And if it's not with me that you want to connect with, just get out and get around some women, get around some other entrepreneurs. You're only as strong as the 5 people that you surround yourself the most with. Who are those people? So get to a gathering. If somebody invites you, don't go because you think they're going to sell you something. Just go because you need to get out of the house. Okay. Get out of the house, create that movement, and let's have a wonderful week. Also, if you go over, I've got a free empath guide because a lot of you joining me are empaths and you feel all the feels. So that could be a reason. That's a whole nother conversation. We're not going into it today. But sometimes that paralyzed feel is because we're an empath and we're feeling all the feels. So go over and grab my empath guide, magicwithkatie.com. It'll pop up, grab that, and then you're going to be in the loop on all of my things, all the ways, all the communities that you can join with me and keep in on the loop on the events. And it's a guide that I think is going to help you tremendously to get out of the rut as well. So thank you. I will be back next Wednesday with another topic. Who knows what that's going to be? I haven't gotten the inspiration for it yet. But thank you again for being here with me today. Whether you're listening, forward this to a friend if somebody else is in that rut that you feel that could really take advantage of that. I love you all, and I will talk to you later. Bye. I won't talk to you later. I'll see you next week.